Hi cuties. It's the Ripper's favorite month of the year. Yep, Halloween spooky time. And within the last week, I've been locked in on Silent Hill 2's remake and the recently dropped Alan Wake 2 The Lake House DLC. Very fitting if I do say so myself, and I need y'all to get locked in as well, so let me just yap about the top 5 2024 released horror video games. Before we begin, I'll just come out and be all the way real with y'all. This year's low-key disappointing as shit, for horror games specifically. I mean, when you compare it to 2023 where we got absolute all-time slappers like Alan Wake 2, Dead Space Remake, Dredge, Resident Evil 4 Remake, I mean, damn. Go play those if you haven't, by the way, right now. But just in time for spooky season, I'll get y'all caught up to date with everything you might have missed this year. I do know there's still a couple months left, obviously, so this list might be subject to change, and we have to see how games like Slitterhead, developed by the OG Team Silent director, and even cool titles like The Thing Remastered pan out, but I gotta get y'all locked in right before Halloween time, so grab some candy corn or Snickers or some shit and just listen to me ramble, okay? Let us just start with the honorable mentions. I only put them here because I simply haven't played them for whatever reason, but I can vouch that they're at least solid because I would never lead you astray, my cuties. Still Wakes the Deep is a walking simulator horror game that takes place on an oil rig, and it's developed by the same fellers who whipped up Amnesia, Machine for Pigs, and Dear Esther. If you're someone who pisses their panties at anything deep ocean related, I'd say definitely check this one out. It's on Game Pass, and my friend Sean said it was good, so trust me, bruh. Alone in the Dark is a game that I'd like to give a shout out to. I did play a few hours of this before getting distracted by Dragon's Dogma 2, I'm sorry. And I can vouch that despite the fact that it's a little jank and a little stank, it has enough heart for you to check this out from like a sale or something like that. The development team behind this recently shut down because of the game's poor sales, and that makes me sad, because it is a solid survival horror video game. Also, David Harbour puts on a really great performance here, so go play it. Now that we got those honorable mentions out the way, let's discuss the Certified Ripper 2024 Top 5 up until October 23rd, that is. Coming in at number 5, I actually have a multiplayer title, which is rare, but it's none other than the Outlast Trials. Now, technically, the early access of this began last year, but was it fully out yet? No, so it's a 2024 video game in Jack the Ripper's eyes, which is the only thing that matters. If you're familiar with Outlast 1 or 2, you'll feel right at home here shitting your britches while running through it with your friends this time around. The Outlast Trials has a surprising amount of lore here, taking place in the 50s during the Cold War, where you play as a test subject that gets the iconic night vision goggles locked into your cranium. I mean, despite being a multiplayer game, there's actually multiple endings here, and the trials you go through are all super unique and absolutely batshit insane, I must add. I mean, I can't even show y'all too much of what you're actually doing during a lot of these because so many of the enemies are just naked, leaking blood, or just doing heinous things to your character. It's different from the first two Outlasts in the sense that you actually have combat items somewhat this time around. You can throw a Last of Us style brick at people, you get rigs which serve as a sort of special power for your character that could include stuns, traps, things of that nature. You're gonna be mainly stealthing around, of course, because at the end of the day you're still playing a helpless test subject, but it's a lot less grueling than certain sections from the previous Outlast where it felt like you can just simply run past a lot of those dumb fucks. I'm not gonna lie, I think this is the best Outlast game yet, especially if you're playing with your favorite bastard friends just giggling and farting at the incredible scares and ridiculous subplots of this game. They always refresh it with new levels and enemies every season, so I cannot recommend this enough, y'all. Next up, coming in at number 4, we got a game that I reviewed the demo for earlier this year on the channel, and of course it's gotta sit snugly in the top 5, and that video game is Hollow Body. Now, of course, we all know that Jack the Ripper's favorite Silent Hill is number 3 because Heather Mason and her story is the greatest shit of all time. And Hollow Body takes direct inspiration from that video game itself. Fixed camera angle horror playing as a badass female protagonist trying to find her partner Sasha in a weird-ass dystopian cyberpunk area. It's great. If you're familiar with the PS2 era of survival horror games, you'll absolutely love the art style and feel of this one. Lots of inventory management and peeking around corners to make sure you hit every nook and cranny of every section. There's multiple endings, funny-ass melee animations, of course, and an overall great-ass retro experience that almost rivals the peak that is Signalis. I forgot to mention that this was developed by one fucking person, and they absolutely snapped, and the game is only 17 US smackarooskies. If you're even slightly interested, there is a demo available, so go check it out and tell them the Ripper sent ya. Number 3 time, and yet again, it's another retro survival horror video game. But this one takes inspiration from the PlayStation 1 Resident Evil era, Conscript. A freaky-ass game that's taking place during World War I that doesn't have zombies, vamps, draugrs, you know, but rather the bleak, dark nature of war. I mean, you're gonna see people crawling around with no legs, you're gonna get attacked with gas, and trudge through many trenches. The plot of this one is you're just a kid trying to find his brother who got injured and taken away from the front lines. And it's a surprisingly long-ass game that took me about 10-ish hours to beat, which is great. I won't go too in-depth because I already made the best review of all time for it on my channel not too long ago, so go take a gander at that right now. But yeah, easily a top 3 2024 horror pick for Jack the Ripper. At the illustrious coveted number 2 position, the silver medal goes to none other than Crow Country.
Really, Jack the Ripper? Another retro survival horror indie game?
Bro, I already told y'all it's a weak-ass year, low-key. Just chill out, dude. Crow Country is absolutely incredible, though, and I actually feel bad putting it at number 2 because it is that great. Take the aiming and loot system of Resident Evil 4 and combine it with the cheesy plots of games like Resident Evil 1, then sprinkle a little Final Fantasy VII chibi design on top, and you got this gem of a video game. Jack the Ripper does not say gem lightly. Crow Country is fun and creative as hell. A lot of indie retro survival horror ends up being cookie cutter and basic, but Crow Country mixes in a lot of interesting puzzles, great enemy design, and awesome combat sections with boss fights, hordes of enemies, and it's just so fucking fun, bro. Trust me, okay? I truthfully don't think there's much wrong with it. It's a $20 experience that's longer than AAA remakes nowadays, like Resident Evil 3. Fuck you, I'll never forgive you for that. But yeah. Once again, I'm the Horror Gamer of the Year, so of course I already dropped a full feature-length review that won several awards, so go watch that and then play Crow Country simply because I told you to. At number 1, the gold medal, I mean, come on, do I even have to say it? Of course it's the Silent Hill 2 remake. My last video, I gushed about this game for 10 minutes straight, but I'll add some more cherries on top here, why not? This is the definition of a remake done well. You don't need to play the original or have played any Silent Hill prior for that matter, and you can just jump in and have a blast here. A depressing ass blast, but a blast nonetheless. Improving upon perfection is a stupendously hard thing to do, but despite it all, Bloober Team said fuck the noise and just dropped a banger vidya game. It is slightly repetitive with the combat and there are some performance issues, but hey, it's 2024, I sadly do not expect perfection anymore. This is easily the best horror game of the year, if not one of the best in the entire console generation this far, and my spoiler-free review just came out a few days ago, so if you want to hear a balls deep dive, you can go watch that, but that concludes the top 5 of this year, my cuties. Like I said, it is not the most insane lineup, I will be honest, but it's a solid one regardless, and a great starting point for anyone trying to get a little spook in just in time for the Halloweezy. Drop a ghost face mask on the like button, perhaps Texas Chainsaw Slash that subscribe, and I love you guys.
Bye.